Neal Battaglia, Saxation.com. I wanted to talk about two techniques that you can use on the saxophone. One is circular breathing, and the other is Altissimo. And basically, circular breathing, it's kind of required for certain instruments. I think maybe bagpipes, I think bassoon and oboe, you use it fairly frequently. Didgeridoo, I think you almost have to circular breathe to play it the way you need to play it. On saxophone, you can circular breathe as well. A few people who can do that are like Kenny G. Kenny G might be the most famous guy to do it on saxophone. I think he played a note for like 43 minutes. But at the same time, think about how often that's useful. There's one part of the book, The Music Lesson by Victor Wooten, and he talks about how on bass, when you're playing, you don't have to stop playing ever because it's not controlled by your breathing. You can just keep playing and playing and playing. You don't need to leave any space. And he's basically saying that in a way, it's an advantage to need to breathe when you're playing an instrument like the saxophone. Because if you need to breathe, you need to put in some space. Even if it's not a lot of space, you need some space. And what you probably really want to do is be more aware of the space you have in the music, and you can kind of just put in your breathing in those places where you have the space. So it might seem like a hindrance sometimes. Maybe you feel like you're running out of air when you're trying to finish a phrase, and maybe you do need to play like a phrase without breathing if it's something that's manageable. But it's also kind of a helpful thing to have to breathe when you're playing the saxophone. It kind of puts more space in the music. Space is part of what makes music musical. So circular breathing can be kind of interesting. Sometimes it's impressive. Sometimes it makes people clap. One of my teachers said if you hold a note long enough and basically by circular breathing, then people will start clapping because they're not sure what's going on, but they're surprised. It's out of the ordinary. In some cases, it can kind of be a cool effect. It can do certain things in the music. But I would say even the people who know how to do it, they don't do it all the time. And if you are circular breathing, you're kind of by definition not having space in the music. So there are instruments that you don't need to breathe to play, and they can hold notes like piano, guitar, bass. But basically on saxophone, it's kind of a cool thing to do. I don't think it's that hard to do, but I kind of never personally thought it was that important. If you want to learn it, go for it. If it's important to you, put in some work, learn the skill. I don't think it's more important than the fundamentals. So if you're circular breathing and you don't have a good tone, you're just playing a bad tone longer, and I don't think that's a great thing. There is another kind of technique skill on the saxophone that at first I didn't think it was as important as I think it is now. And even now I don't think it's important for people just starting off playing, and it's Altissimo. If you've been playing like a week or a month, stay away from Altissimo. If you don't know all the notes on the saxophone, you shouldn't learn the harder notes to play on the saxophone. So you want to get your rhythm, you want to get all the notes, you want to get a good tone. But actually, what I found, and I haven't mastered Altissimo, I can play some notes, but kind of the process of getting Altissimo and playing harmonics and playing different things related to Altissimo, they're actually going to develop your tone on the saxophone. So playing Altissimo itself is a cool thing to be able to do, but actually getting to the place where you can play it well and play it consistently is going to make your sound for all the other notes sound better. So if you're going to compare these two techniques of circular breathing and Altissimo, I would basically say Altissimo is a lot more important. I feel like you probably do want to work on Altissimo maybe a few years down the line. I mean, maybe like 5 years down the line. It depends on how fast you pick up things and how well you play the fundamentals of the saxophone. But it's something that you probably should do as a saxophone player. Circular breathing, if you really want to do it, go for it. It's kind of cool. I don't feel like it's really necessary though. It is more necessary on other instruments, not as necessary on the saxophone. So I just want to talk about this for a little bit. And if you have an opinion on this, I'd like to hear it. If you can do both, tell me which one you do more. Tell me what you think is more important. I think that most people would say Altissimo, but maybe a few people disagree. I would like to hear some opinions on it. Just because I don't think it's important, maybe it is important for some people. Maybe it depends on the circumstance. So if you think circular breathing is important, let me know how you use it. Let me know what your experience with Altissimo is. Maybe if you can do both, tell me which one you think is more important. And if you're a beginning saxophone player, check out the beginning saxophone player group I made on Facebook. Go there and answer 3 questions, and you can check out what we're doing, get a little bit of feedback on your playing.